In the Hope Reserve, there are 150 Bontebok. What we know about them is tiny compared to what we don't know. So I've joined CapeNature ecologist Marienne to road test some new survey methods and uncover the threats these beautiful antelopes face. It's a Bontebok day. The protected area of the Hope seems like a paradise. There are large numbers of eland, ostrich, and zebra thriving on the grazing lawns. But Bontebok numbers here have fallen by 40% in the last 5 years. Recording the number of rams, ewes, and calves in each herd helps us to follow this decline.
What we saw 2 weeks ago, we had a few, maybe 4 herds where we had more lambs than lactating ewes. So that tells me something's happened to one of those ewes. One of the moms has vanished.
Within the reserve and outside, a number of threats plague the Bontebok.
I think the top of the list is habitat loss. After that, inbreeding, so the lack of genetic diversity, and where that becomes a problem is where there may be issues with fertility, there may be issues with susceptibility to disease, just because they've lost that part of their genetics that would have allowed them to adapt and deal with it. So inbreeding, and then the third one would be hybridization with Bontebok.
One recent find, however, points to a different threat.
And we actually found a dying Bontebok. Came back a couple of hours later and it was dead, and we took the carcass for an autopsy. I'm still waiting for the autopsy results, but it had an extremely high parasite load.
To investigate the parasite problem in the population, we snuck in one last survey: fresh poo collecting. It will take time for the results to come back on samples like this, but the insights it gives could save this Bontebok and that Bontebok, these, those, him, her, Jack, and that one. Finally, after an incredible day, it's time to reflect.
There are many, many special places, not only in the Western Cape, but in South Africa. Well, all over the world, obviously. But it's, for me, it's an incredible privilege just to come and spend days out here. And I do think it's really important as well in terms of understanding systems. You can understand systems to an extent by reading, by looking at photographs, satellite imagery and so on, but I do think getting in touch with natural systems has a value on its own.
But this is not the entire story of the Bontebok. There's much more that we have to do in order to save these species, and that we'll see in the next episode.